Hello, boils and ghouls. Happy Friday the 13th. I'm here in my Jason jacket, but we are not here to talk about him today. We're here to talk about Spaceballs 2. Now, if you don't know what Spaceballs is, it is a Mel Brooks parody of Star Wars. Instead of the Force, they have the Schwartz. There's Lone Star, who is a parody of Han Solo and Luke Skywalker. He's played by Bill Pullman. There's Barf, who's one of my favorite characters, and played by one of my favorite actors, John Candy. There's Princess Vespa, who is a parody of Princess Leia. She's played by Daphne Zuniga. There's her robot friend, chaperone thing. It's like a female C-3PO. She was voiced by Joan Rivers. There's Yogurt, who was played by Mel Brooks. He also played another character in the film, the president of Planet Spaceball. And then there's one of my favorite actors, Rick Moranis, who plays Dark Helmet or Lord Helmet, depending on what character is addressing him. This movie is about Planet Spaceball running out of oxygen, and they want to steal oxygen from Princess Vespa's planet. She is like fleeing a wedding ceremony she wants no part in and ends up getting kidnapped and then rescued by Lone Star and Barf. I grew up watching this movie. I love this movie. When I tell you I have waited my entire life for a Spaceballs 2, that is not an exaggeration. The first one came out the year I was born. So literally my entire life. So you can imagine my excitement yesterday when I saw this. Not only was I excited, but my first thought was, I need to find a cast list. I need to know who's going to be in it, because it's always like my first priority whenever there's like a reboot or a sequel or whatever they're considering this. Because I read the press release and there was something like at the bottom that kind of didn't make sense to me, but basically, what it says was that the film had been described by those who had not read the script, which if you haven't read the script, how can you describe it? I haven't read the script. I couldn't describe this movie to you. So I don't know how people who have not yet read it could say that it is, quote, and I wrote it down, a non-prequel, non-reboot sequel part 2, but with reboot elements franchise expansion film, which kind of makes sense for this kind of parody movie. You know, Star Wars has so many sequels, prequels, spin-offs, reboots, whatever. Reboots are all the rage now. So for them to lean into that and make a joke of it makes sense. Especially with the announcement of it. It starts with, that scrolling Star Wars style text. And it says, there's been so many Star Wars and Star Wars prequels and sequels and prequels to the sequels and 8 Harry Potter movies and then a TV show based off the same 8 Harry Potter movies, all the Jurassic Parks and all this and that. So I understand them leaning into everything's a prequel, sequel, reboot and making a joke of it, because that really is what everything is these days. And to say that this is none of those things means it could maybe be some of those things. Like, it's probably definitely a sequel, especially since we're getting 2 new characters. One is played by Lewis Pullman, Bill Pullman's actual son, and Keke Palmer, who I love. I've been watching her since she played True Jackson on Nickelodeon. Now, who they're playing, I only found one source for that. And it's not the most reliable of sources a lot of the time. It's Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt that allegedly Lewis Pullman is playing Lone Star and Vespa's son, maybe named Starburst. Seems kind of like a weird name, but this is a weird movie, so who knows. And Keke may be playing somebody named Destiny. There's also talk of Josh Gad, who is a producer on this movie, playing a yet unnamed character. I have a feeling that character might be Barf, and I might be a little disappointed if it is, because I love John Candy and I love Barf, and nobody can compare to John Candy. But the main reason I'm excited for this, not just because I love this movie, but it is because of Rick Moranis. He was such a staple actor of my childhood that seeing him in anything now hits me in the nostalgia, and it makes me want to watch it more. Would I care so much about this movie if he wasn't in it? No, probably not. But I grew up watching Spaceballs and Ghostbusters and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Little Shop of Horrors. So this makes me excited for this movie. Especially since we've gotten 2 Ghostbusters and he's been in neither of them. That still hurts me. I'm so upset about that. Sigourney freaking Weaver came back for the Ghostbusters, but we couldn't get Rick Moranis. But we're not here to talk about that. He has been working on this sequel, prequel, not a prequel, reboot, whatever, since like 2013. Like he said in like an interview in 2013 that he had been talking to Mel Brooks about a sequel and he wanted to call it Spaceballs 3: The Search for Spaceballs 2. I like that title. I don't think we're going with that, but I like it. They were unable to make it work at the time. And then in 2015, Mel Brooks said he would like to do another one. And he said he wanted to call it Spaceballs 2: To Search for More Money. That's also a good title. Are they going to go with that? I don't know. I kind of hope so. I kind of wish that they released the announcement for this on May the 4th, because I think that would have been really funny. But it might have also gotten lost in all of the like actual Star Wars posts that day. But I have high hopes for this. I'm very excited, especially for Rick Moranis. I love that the whole cast is coming back because that's always very important to me. And I think the cast just worked really well together in the first one. That it would be weird to see other people playing those roles now, unless they had to, like with John Candy, because he's dead. But that's all for this video. I will see you guys next time. Be excellent to each other, and may the Schwartz be with you. Bye.